a virtual participant. Vadim Sidorov is a PhD student at Charles University in Prague and is also ambassador of the Eastern Caribbean platform. Welcome, Vadim. You have 15 minutes.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for the possibility to share my vision with you. Since the topic of our meeting is new architecture of whole Northern Eurasia, my topic is new architecture of Baltic part of it. And why this topic is actual? Because in the situation of cruel war against Ukraine, we have to remember the idea which can be described as old but still bold. This is idea of the Baltic Black Sea Union, which was promoted by Belarusian National Democrats in the early 19th, and which was supported by their colleagues in Ukraine, in Baltic countries, and in Poland. And we can clearly state that if this idea was realized, we could already have dramatically another architecture of Northern Eurasia or of the Europe itself. And here my colleague Magomed Reeves spoke about, imperial steps of Yeltsin regime in the early 19th. And I can say that not refusing it, that was 1994, which was a turning point of dramatical re-imperialization of Russia. And there were two steps in that direction. First step is obvious. It was a cruel, massive war against the independent Chechen Republic. But there were steps before it, and there were elections in Belarus or in the Republic Belarus, which helped Moscow satellite Lukashenko to take control under this very, very important country. Because if in that elections could win the Belarus National Democratic leader Zenon Pozniak, and Belarus, instead of turning into the Russian colony and satellite, could become the part of Baltic and Black Sea Union. The architecture of Eurasia also could be now dramatically another peaceful and more secure. So how all this is connected with the topic of post-Russia? It is because we need to understand this idea of the new architecture of Baltic region. We need to fix the problems. The problem today is that Belarus is under the control of Moscow, and Lithuanian Republic, which is a part of NATO and European Union, but actually it is surrounded from one side by Belarus, which is a part of Russian Empire and not an independent state de facto. Of course, I spoke about it. And from the other side by so-called Kaliningrad region, which is really military exclave of Russia in the European Union. And to understand and to fix our problem, we need to do it because next time when we will have opportunity, like we had it in the early 19th, we need not to repeat our mistakes which were done there. And to not to do them, we need to understand how all this happened during the history of the last 20th century and maybe more old history, because the first step, which was the most important in the building of Russia Empire, was the defeat of the great Duchy of Lithuania, which was not, the kind of modern Lithuanian Republic, which is national independent state. But it was a huge multinational, multi-confessional space of Baltic Slavic nations. And only after this space was defeated, Russian Empire could be established. But even, after it, Russian Empire recognized historical reality of that region. I mean, there were no, as we know, nation states inside Russian Empire, but there were some symbolical entities. And one of them was the so-called Western or Northern Western region, which began in the Kaunas and ended in the modern Smolensk region and of Russian Federation, current Russian Federation, and historically it included in it some pieces of current western part of Russian Federation, which were organically connected with this space. And that's why when the Russian Empire ruptured, the founders of Belarusian independent states, following that pattern, they tried to include in the Belarusian National Republic not only the current territory of the Belarusia, but also the parts of Smolensk region, the parts of Tver region, the parts of Pskov region, which were organically connected with this space, and Vilnius, which was a common place for Lithuanians and Belarusians. And we also know that same as it was with the great Duchy of Lithuania, for the Soviet Russia, the struggle against the Marshal Pilsudski was the main geopolitical task. And even this task for them of struggle with Pilsudski himself wasn't reached. They unfortunately they could neutralize the important parts of this landscape, which was the independent Belarusian Republic, and to reach that task, they used spoilers. It is an ancient, instrument of Moscow politics. So they established spoiler Soviet Republic of Belarusia to defeat real independent Belarusia, and to defeat Lithuania. They established common Belarusian, Lithuanian, Soviet Republic. But even in doing it, they had to recognize those historical and geographical patterns, because the first Soviet Belarusian Republic, which was established by communists, it was established in Smolensk, and the Smolensk was capital of the Soviet Belarusian Republic. Of course, after reaching that point, after the defeating of real independent Belarusia, they took from Belarusia Smolensk region, but even after that, they included Smolensk region together with parts of another western regions of Russia, not in the so-called Central Russia. They included them in the Western region. So that's how they recognized you know, this historical pattern of the great Lithuanian duchy. And that was the Stalin who dramatically changed the landscape and the patterns of this region. So how he did it? After and before Second World War, we know this pact of Molotov and Ribbentrop. Stalin, when he shared, you know, when he divided with the Nazi Third Reich the territory of Poland, and he was able actually to control under the Vilnius. He also followed this tactic to use like spoilers and manipulation to neutralize his geopolitical enemy. So he left the Vilnius region to Lithuania in the aim to take all Lithuania, which he actually did. And after Second World War, when they took the part of Eastern Prussia, which later became the Kaliningrad region, they didn't join this region to the Poland or to the Lithuania, which was quite logically from the geographical point of view. They even didn't join it to the Belarusian Soviet Republic, which could be done using Suwalki space, but they transformed, they established the Kaliningrad Oblast of Russian Federation Republic, which was absolutely unlogical, you know, from the geographical point of view, because Russia itself has no borders with Kaliningrad region. So, and very important also point that they eliminated this western region of Russia, which was established from the Smolensk region, Tver region, Bryansk region, and other, and they included these historical parts of Great Duchy Lithuania in the so-called Central Russia, which was established by Stalin and after Stalin, and after what they become to assimilate these historical regions in the so-called Central Russia. So when we speak today about the next possible chance and about the realization of this idea and this project of Baltic Black Sea Union in future, we need to understand that this project can be logical only if it will include in itself all this historical landscape of the grand Lithuanian duchy. Of course, that doesn't mean that all these spaces have to be included in one state, which is impossible in the reality of new international law and itself. But there are new regionalist movements, one of which I represent here. The Eastern Crimean platform is a platform of regionalist movements of three Western Russian regions, which see themselves as a part of this Baltic Slavic region, together with independence liberated from the Lukashenko regime and from the Moscow-influenced Republic of Belarus, Lithuania, Poland. And of course, we need to understand that the Kaliningrad problem has to be solved as well, because still Kaliningrad region will be kept as a military forpost of Russia, it will be essential treat to not only to Lithuania but to all European Union. So, as this region also historically and ethnically, demographically connected with this Baltic Slavic landscape, because it was a historical Yatvagia, and it was populated by people from Belarusian
Thank you,
Soviet
Vadim.
Republic and from the western regions of Russia. We need to understand that we have to solve this problem completely, and even if we don't have now the opportunity to solve it right now, we need at least to have vision, how to do it logically in future. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.